All right, today we're going to talk about COVID-19 because that's all we talk about these days. And will it cause a recession? So, what is a recession, right? Two consecutive quarters losing fall in gross domestic product, right? So, we're probably going to see that just because the length of the shutdown, right? We certainly are going to have one horrible quarter, if not two. But I think the key is to, I talk about home prices and real estate. So I think the key is to look at another little chart I printed up. So these are the past 5 recessions and home prices. So you can see in 3 of the 5, home prices actually went up. One of them went down slightly, and one of them, the big one we all remember because we were all alive during this time, was when home sales, home activity actually created the market that couldn't be sustained. So an interesting thing about that you might like is the annual appreciation. So on the left side, you can see those appreciation rates were 8, 6, 8, 8, 7, 12 and a half, and 11.4 annual. That was unsustainable. That was very tough times, and it was illegitimate. It wasn't based on supply and demand. It was based on anyone can get a loan. There are no standards. Sign a piece of paper and get a loan. That's where they went. Now you look at today's are still high, probably higher than they should be, right? 4, 5, 6, 4, 4. But at least it's a lot more sustainable than what we were seeing. And these increases, this appreciation rate is based on supply and demand fundamentals. So it's not 2008, folks. It's nothing like it. So, you got to look at the stricter mortgage lending regulations. You got to look at supply and demand. And even though things are tricky right now, these are realities that you have to look at. So the bottom line here is home values are unlikely to be affected. Even though we were at 4.7% appreciation coming into this whole COVID thing, even now they're still thinking 3% appreciation. So they're not calling on, falling prices where the bottom falls out of the market. They're saying, you know what, we're still going to appreciate because we have supply and demand. We have no supply, heavy demand. So we're probably going to continue to see upward pressure on prices around 3%. So I don't know what to tell you. You think you're going to buy a foreclosure? You might. But I have a feeling there's going to be a whole lot of people competing for that foreclosure. It's probably going to go for market value, which is going to be strong. So if you're thinking about buying a house now, you got the thing that makes now a great time to buy is, guess what? Once again, new low interest rates, historically low at this point. Problem is no inventory, lots of competition. Now, the higher end is a little bit different. It's a little trickier up there, but in the average typical home, that's what we're seeing, a lot of competition. So good time to buy and get those interest rates. Hard to compete though, really hard to compete. If you're thinking about selling and you have a home priced under $1 million, you'd probably expect multiple offers. You can probably expect a really strong market. It would be a great time to sell and not a lot of competition. So that's my thought for that. Thank you.